Guys, we're living in the future. I mean, I just remotely speaking to my agentic AI, my Clawbot. I had it scan my computer, make a suggestion on files that were duplicates taking up space, and had it do this from simply talking to it on Discord. Guys, we've entered the future. And if you don't know what an agentic AI is, well, recently something has really exploded, something fascinating that I decided to take a look at. It is called Openclaw. It was first called Moltclaw or Clawbot, but because of Claude, kind of like Claude. Anyways, it is called Openclaw. And there was a recent experiment, if you will, called Moltbook, which was a Reddit like community where agentic AIs could interact with each other. And while that is mostly a smoke show and entertaining, the real magic here seems to be in this Clawbot or Openclaw, because I have been able to play around with this thing and get it to do some pretty amazing things on my local PC. Now, there's also something called PicoClaw, and I wanted to see that ran on something Linux, and game developer Game IT from Japan, who is famous for Plum OS, he sent me a message letting me know that OpenPico is working on the RGB30. So take a look at this little screenshot. It's freaking amazing. We are entering a brand new world, one where I don't know if we're going to be watching bots play each other, play retro games, or doing significantly weird things. But the fact that I can now have this thing, manage my computer remotely, talk to it through Discord.
Clawbot, I forgot to scan the Amazon page for a price reduction on that shirt I wanted.
Scanning now, El Capitan.
Have it generate images, including images for all the AI stuff I do here, make thumbnails for the YouTube channel. It is amazing. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this before we get into today's video. Hit the link below. I'm going to link to a place where you can set one of these up for yourself if you like. Yeah. There's all the people fearful of what this can do. This is not going to take over the world. But if you want to learn how to set this thing up to do some pretty amazing things, I've already got it monitoring certain websites for price drops. I've got it doing all kinds of cool stuff. Now, you will need some sort of back-end subscription for tokens. I use Google Gemini Pro, and I pay $20 a month. But once you have this thing set up, it is just so useful. Anyways, today we're going to take a look at a couple of e-waste. Yes. Whew. I found one. Oh, look at this beauty. Maybe e-waste, for dead Fred, who knows. But we're going to look at two devices, and we're going to do mostly just the hands-on how they feel. The CPUs are Rockchip 3326, so there's not much to talk about there. So I combine these into one review, talking about the form factor and how they play and the screen. Anyways, remember to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode of our awesome content. But check out the link below for the Clawbot and how to set one up yourselves. And again, look forward to some cool stuff I'm going to be doing. Okay, so we're going to start with the R36B. And this box looks a lot like the boxes we've seen from another company. It reminds us of that retro TV, the R36T that we've been seeing. And it opens up the same way, and inside we have, oh look, we also have a case. Only we're missing the little, normally at this point we have a little logo here. No logo, but it looks like the same case. This is a pretty decent case for what you get. I mean, you get a case with it, so who can complain about that? But let's open it up, and inside, get the handheld out of the way here. And it looks like we've got our typical stuff on the inside. We have a actual decent kind of glass screen protector. That's kind of nice. So an actual, not floppy screen protector. We do have the little stuff here to do it. We have a USB A to C USB key here. And then we have our instruction manual for the R36B Max. Essentially, this is the R36 Max, which I think is from the same factory, maybe even the same company overall. But let's get this all put in here. And as I said, this is essentially an R36 Max, which is one of our most popular videos on the channel. Go check it out if you haven't seen it, in a different shell. But as I bring it up here to show you guys the handheld here, and here it is. You can see right there. It has a basketball and a baseball. What's going on here, dudes? We saw the R36 Max with its square buttons and basketball or soccer ball. Now we have basketball and we have baseball. And as we look this over, again, this is a 4-inch 720p 1x1 screen, so nothing real crazy that we're not used to. But let's start looking at these buttons and testing these buttons. It's nice. The buttons are independent. They're nice size. I like them. They're better than the square buttons on the R36 Max. So I think that we're already off to a good start. So I do like the buttons on this. Now this D-pad, look at that thing. If we get it focused in here. That's crazy. What is that? But it feels nice. I mean, it's like on top of a round ball. It feels like a Sega D-pad almost. It has nice texture to it. I kind of like it, but I don't think it's going to be great and functional. That's my one concern, because I can already tell it's not pivoting real well. But I kind of like the way it feels. And then we have those switch sticks. Okay? Our typical switch sticks, which aren't really that much different. I mean, there's nothing much here to get excited over with the switch sticks. And they're in the bottom thing. And then there's this baseball. And speaking of the baseball here, the baseball is the speaker, okay? Now, this thing is kind of ugly. I mean, it's kind of weird. We have our function button, and we have our start and select. And then we have this little blue light in the middle. It's right in the middle. That may bother some people, I don't know, but it's just right dead center in the middle. But the blue light is there. But looking over the handheld, we do have the butt cheeks on the back, and then we have the typical shoulders. And the shoulders feel like what you would expect. They're nice size, nice texture to them, but they're kind of loud and clicky. And then just looking over the back of this, we do have on the top a TF card, a DC port, our auxiliary for headphones. We have the the power and reset on one side with the volume up and down the other side, and nothing on the bottom. And then we have this 4:1 screen. Like I said, this is a Rockchip 3326. This is the R36 Max in a different shell with different buttons. And so, yeah, and that's where I'm going to leave it. We know how gameplay plays, but let's take a look at this next handheld, because I got another one again, as I promised at the beginning of the video. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to share with you today something that was sent over to us from the fine folks at Fifine. Now, many of you may have heard of Fifine. They make lots of great equipment, including the microphone I use here to record all of my wonderful videos. But they did send over an awesome headset that I wanted to take a look at, the H13. This is a headset that is styled for battle, powered by sound, as they say. It comes with awesome noise canceling, a 7.1 surround sound, 50mm dynamic driver, volume control, and 4 EQ modes. As you can see here, I did some testing on it and used it on the Save State podcast, and I found it to have super clear, really good sound quality, as well as microphone quality, which does not surprise me since they're known for that function. This is a beautiful headset that was comfortable to wear and has a lot of nice little effects like RGB with a smiley face on the side there. It comes at a really great price for all the features you get, including including that awesome ability to do an equalizer with things like clear vocal, powerful bass, or dynamic enhancement. Hit the link below to check this out if you want to pick one up yourself. We want to thank Fifine for sending this over for us to take a look at it. We're really impressed with it. Again, the H13 is a great headset for all of your gaming and retro needs. It is a traditional headset with a wire. It's not wireless, but man, it is really great and sounds awesome on all your little retro doodads. Anyways, back to the show. All right, so we got the box here, the SJGAM M30. So we recently did the M28. That's the one that looks like the PS Portal that can play PS2, some PS2 games. But this one's the M30 and it has the cat ears on it. This is another Rockchip 3326. So no surprises there. The box does look like a typical SJGAM box. They did have a sticker on mine. I tried to get it off, but it was out of the way. But you do see here, it is says porting up to PSP, which on a 3326 is questionable, but it can play some. But this does have the 4.3-inch screen from the PSP, so that's good. Opening the box here, we do have 3 colorways. We have black, gray, and green. We did get it in the green color because I thought that looked the best. But we'll take this out of here. And inside we do have a floppy, so this is not a very good screen protector compared to the other one. We do have a USB cable here, USB A to C, no surprises with that. And then an instruction manual here, which is not very fancy. So no surprises here, the typical inclusion from SJGAM. But let's get the handheld out here. And this thing, I don't know if I would say that this looks green. I'm not sure what color you guys, think that looks like. If I can get it to focus here. But you can see it does have a decent shape here. First hands-on, holding it. It feels good to hold. It's got a nice ergonomic to it. It does feel cheap, so it feels like typical SJGAM cheap, so no surprises there. But let's try these buttons. The buttons are okay. They're not bad. They're a little smaller than the handheld we just looked at. They're not very loud, but they are independent, so the buttons are pretty decent. I think SJGAM now has pretty consistent good buttons. We'll move on to this D-pad. The D-pad is sort of the skinny variety. I don't like this D-pad a lot, but I mean, it's not terrible. It pivots good. It's definitely better than the D-pad I just looked at on that other handheld. And then the sticks, which looks like Switch sticks, but these are actually Vita sticks because there's no R3 or L3. What's going on, SJGAM? What the heck is going on? What's going on? I don't know. So, anyways, SJGAM, they do things and then they take things to the back and they change. And then we have just awful triggers. Probably the worst triggers I've seen on SJGAM. They're very tight. They're not analog at all, which is not surprising. They're very tight and they're flat. Maybe this is for pocketability. I don't know. I'm not sure this is really pocketable. Maybe so, but I don't like them. They don't feel very good. The front ones are okay. The back ones are kind of just awful. Not a fan of them. Looking along the top, we have the typical switch, on-off switch that we're used to seeing from SJGAM. So no surprises there. We do have our plus or minus volume. We have a USB-C. And then on the bottom, we have an SD card and a headphone jack. Nothing on the sides. I like the color of this. I like the buttons. The D-pad is okay. The sticks are horrible. And the shoulder buttons are the worst. So, and it feels cheap. It's got okay ergonomics. I don't know how much this is going for, but I don't think with the Rockchip 3326, this really should pay more than $35 for it at most. The screen is okay. Let's turn this thing on and boot up. And we have the familiar OS that we saw that they're using now along their line. I think this is some kind of Android behind this. I'm not real sure, but it's a very basic setup. As you can see here, it doesn't give you a lot of choices. There's not a lot of things you can do. We do have the nice little glowing sticks, even though they're not R3 or L3. But Yeah, it can play some PSP, and they have some on here, and it's just very basic. It's plug and play. All the settings, you're not going to change anything like typical here. So this would be good to give to someone that just wants to turn it on and play. That's what this would be best for. But yeah, that kind of wraps up our look at the two R3326s e-waste, along with that Openclaw stuff, creepy stuff, kind of cool stuff. Kind of expensive though, because you have to have that back end, and Google has kind of clamped down on the open use of it. I was able to use my monthly subscription, but they've kind of banned that. Now you have to do per API call, and that gets to be very expensive. I'm looking for another free source. So that project is kind of hit the wall for expense reasons. It's probably good because we don't need a lot of these things running rampant out there. Anyways, guys, looking forward, having a lot more content coming, some FPGA stuff coming up here. We have some IONEO stuff on the way. So looking forward for the rest of this month. Please hit those links down on the bottom. It helps the channel grow if you're looking to purchase something anyways. And remember to hug your loved ones and love your hugged ones, because tomorrow's never promised. We'll see you next time, Deadheads. Deadfred out.